Today, we are going through the 3 things that you're doing when you're walking that are causing your knee pain. And the best part is you can fix it. Stick with me for this week's Monday Moves with Marion. I want to go through and explain to you what the issues are so you know exactly what to look at when you are decreasing your knee pain, getting back to activity, and feeling awesome. Because I know knee pain sucks. I've had knee pain since high school. Track and field team, knees are sore, you go to see the specialist, special shoes, special this, special that, icing, time off, no running, different training. All of these things just because I wanted to run faster. But as I got older, why I wanted to decrease the knee pain definitely changed. I wanted to stay active, and the pain I was having was really causing not only issues for my life and what I wanted to do with being active, but also because it makes you bitchy and you feel bad and you're overwhelmed with not knowing why or being able to solve the problem, and frustrated that every time you're doing as you should, going out and exercising, you're getting pain. And once I had the knee replacement and I had to rehab from that, a lot of pain and a lot of work on really figuring out what was wrong and how to solve the problem. So let's talk about the 3 things that you're doing when you're walking that are causing your knee pain. Number 1, we're going to review your foot placement. Yes, how you're putting down your foot is causing problems in your knee and the pain in your knee. Number 2, your hip range of motion. When you don't have proper hip range of motion, you are going to cause pain in your knee. Yes, I'm going to show you in just a minute. Stick with me. Number 3, if you're not using the muscles around your knee properly, and it's because they're tight, it's going to cause pain in your knee. So let me demonstrate what's happening when you're walking and how it's causing your knee pain. So as I said, when we're walking, all we want to do is have the knee flex and extend. We're extending when we step, and then we're flexing that knee behind us when we walk. So extend and flex. But what's important to note is the placement of my foot is going to determine where that knee is. That knee wants to move straight ahead. We're walking straight ahead, that knee wants to move straight ahead because we know it only moves in flexion and extension. So when I put down that ankle, that knee wants to come forward. And then I put down my toes, the second part, this is my stance phase of gait, so my foot is down, I want that knee to be able to come forward. But if my foot is wobbly, if my foot doesn't have that stability in there, if it doesn't have the proper range of motion, what's happening to my knee? So if I'm standing here, heel, foot, and that foot, look at where my knee goes. That knee is going off to the side. It doesn't want to go there. It wants to come forward. It wants to take me on that easiest path, straight ahead. But when the foot wobbles, you can see where that knee goes. It goes out to the side as that arch drops, as that toe gives away. The problems in your foot are causing the pain in your knee. Let's go to number 2. Let's talk about that hip. Again, we're talking about that alignment. We just want to go straight ahead. That knee just wants to flex and extend. If you think about it, it's the only thing it wants to do. But the hip's decided, with its infinite wisdom, that it doesn't like moving straight ahead. Those hip flexors are tight, those glutes are not firing, that range of motion that you're supposed to work on, you didn't do. So it wants to externally rotate, which means when it puts the heel down, because it's externally rotated at the hip, that knee is coming out to the side now. And that's all because of the hip. Now, I may be exaggerating a little bit with this posture, but I want you to see it. Your movement may not be quite as far. It may be out only 20 degrees, 30 degrees. But what I'm showing you is that when that hip rotates, when it is out to the side and it puts the foot down in that position, and it's not in heel-toe alignment, that knee wants to follow. Remember, it doesn't have a choice. It's only a hinge joint, flexion and extension. So it is going to flex over that foot, but wait a minute. We want to move forward. So what's going to happen? Oh, we're going to have to twist. Ooh, Ooh, that knee does not like that twist. Look at that. It wants to come forward. What's it doing? Pulling all along the side. Poor baby on that knee. It does not like that. And to make up for it, what it really wants to do, as we said, is just flex and extend. That's it. When I'm walking, I want to make sure that my knee extends. Well, I can't extend my knee fully if my hamstrings are tight. What's going to happen? I'm going to go take a step, but that knee is going to stay slightly bent because my hamstrings are too tight to straighten. So when I go to come down, I'm going to come down on a bent knee. That's not going to keep me in alignment. That's going to put a lot of stress on my knee. Think about it. If my knee can't straighten, even if I can't stand nice and straight, I'm always in that mini squat position. My knees are always bent. Think of the pressure on the knee if it's always bent. Those muscles are always pulling on the knee joint. Same thing with the quads. When I push off, I want that knee to be able to bend. But if I can't do that because, maybe my hip flexors are engaged, my hip joint's not proper, and it's affecting my quadricep, then I'm not going to have a proper push off. I'm going to change that position. It's going to affect my knee. So let's review. Your foot stability and your positioning of your foot with decreased range of motion in your ankle is going to affect how your knee moves, which is going to cause the pain because the knee only wants to move forward and back. Same thing with the hip. If you are not in alignment with a nice flexion and extension of the hip when you walk, then your foot's going to be out and it's going to put a lot of stress on your knee, causing knee pain. If those muscles around your knee joint, quadriceps and hamstrings, are too tight to allow a nice fluid movement of the knee, it is going to compensate and not have a full stride, causing, you guessed it, pain in the knee. Now that we know what the problem is, what are we going to do as a solution? Number one, you know it, Foundations First Framework. We got to work on flexibility. You've got to make sure that your ankle is moving properly so your knee can be aligned. When the knee comes to the outside, there is a big possibility that is because the ankle doesn't have good range of motion. We need to work on ankle mobility to allow that knee to stay in alignment with the foot as you walk. Number two, we got to look at those hip ranges of motion. If you cannot get into a nice neutral hip position, if you cannot get into alignment, chances are your hip flexors are super tight, not allowing that positioning, and that's why you've got a little bit of that flare of that foot because your glutes are not firing to help you with that alignment. I know it's a lot of biomechanics going through here, but trust me when I tell you, the tight hip flexors are at the root cause of having that knee flail out when you're walking and causing the pain along the line of the knee on the outside of that joint. So you need to work on stretching out those hip flexors. Number three, we talked about the mobility in the knee joint. We need to work on those quads. We need to work on those hamstrings. I want you stretching out those hamstrings first, and I want you working on your quads after you've stretched out your hip flexors, because there are part of the quad is there's four muscles in there, hence quad, and we do have some interaction with the hip. So once that hip becomes looser, it's going to be easier for you to stretch out the quads, and that's what I want you to work on. So we've covered the three bases. We know that we are in charge of fixing our knee pain. Of course, we need to take into consideration that there could be issues such as osteoporosis. You could have issues with cartilage. You could have some wearing and tearing. But what I want to say is even with that, it is even more important to make sure you have proper alignment to decrease your pain. You can continue to walk. You can continue to exercise when there are these issues. And in fact, it's even more important because all of that movement lubricates the joint and By strengthening the muscles and moving the muscles, you are taking the pressure off the joint. When you are not in alignment, you are putting stress on the joint, as I demonstrated. When that ankle is not in alignment, you can see how that puts pressure on that knee. When that hip is not in alignment, the knee is taking the brunt of that. Tightness in your muscles, it's deterring your joint from moving properly and having a fluid movement in that joint. So even with those issues, it's more important for you to work on the stages that I've given you here in these 3 things. I want you to reach your best potential. Have an awesome day.